This isn't about fear or food shaming. It's about understanding how your physiology changes with age and why what served you well in your 20 or 30 might quietly undermine your health in midlife and beyond. Have you ever sat down to a steaming bowl of oatmeal believing you were making one of the healthiest choices for your body? For decades, oatmeal has been marketed as a superfood, heart-healthy, cholesterol-lowering, the breakfast of champions. But here's the surprising reality. Once you cross the age of 40, oatmeal may actually be working against your strength, your energy, and even your ability to preserve muscle mass. After 40, one of the most important biological battles you face is sarcopenia, the gradual decline of muscle mass and strength. This process isn't just about how you look or perform at the gym. It directly affects your metabolism, your balance, your resilience against disease, and even your cognitive health. The stronger your muscles, the stronger your brain. And this is where oatmeal surprisingly begins to fail you. You see, oatmeal is rich in carbohydrates, but relatively poor in protein and essential amino acids. Yes, it has fiber. Yes, it has some micronutrients, but when your body needs a constant signal to maintain muscle tissue, a bowl of oatmeal on its own doesn't deliver that message. In fact, research from the Journal of Nutrition and Aging shows that older adults need nearly double the protein intake of younger adults just to preserve the same level of muscle. Starting your day with oatmeal, which spikes glucose quickly but does little for muscle synthesis, can set you up for fatigue, hunger swings, and slower recovery. Here's what we're going to unpack today: 6 science-backed reasons why oatmeal may no longer serve you if your goal is to stay strong, sharp, and vital after 40. Along the way, I'll share powerful alternatives and small habit shifts that can dramatically improve your metabolism, your energy, and even your brain performance. Because the truth is this: strength after 40 isn't just about workouts. It's about sending your body the right biochemical signals meal after meal in oatmeal. It may be sending the wrong message. Here's the problem with oatmeal. It contains very little leucine and very little protein overall. A standard serving has only about 5 grams of protein, nowhere near the 25-30 grams older adults need at breakfast to stimulate muscle growth. Think of it like trying to start a car with a nearly dead battery. You can turn the key, but there's not enough spark to get the engine running. One of the most overlooked shifts that happens after 40 is how differently your muscles respond to food. If you eat like you did in your 20 or 30, your body won't respond the same way, and the biggest factor here is protein signaling. Every time you eat, your muscles are listening. They're essentially asking, do I have enough raw material to repair, to grow, to stay strong? The language they understand is amino acids, the building blocks of protein, and the most important of these is leucine. Leucine acts like a switch, flipping on a process in your cells called muscle protein synthesis, the rebuilding of muscle fibers. Without enough leucine in a meal, that switch simply doesn't turn on. So when you start your morning with oatmeal, you're missing the critical opportunity to set the tone for the day. Breakfast is your first chance to tell your body, preserve muscle, keep me strong. If all you send is a wave of carbohydrates with barely any amino acids, the signal isn't there. Over time, this silent gap accelerates muscle loss, a process that can rob you of energy, mobility, and independence. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how quickly you get hungry after a bowl of oatmeal? That's not just your stomach talking. It's your muscles, your brain, and even your hormones saying, we didn't get what we needed. Hunger is often not about calories. It's about missing nutrients. Research in the field of aging and nutrition has shown that once you pass 40, you need more protein per meal, not less. This is due to what scientists call anabolic resistance. Your muscles become less sensitive to the anabolic muscle building signals from protein. It's like turning up the volume on a radio, where 10 grams of protein might have been enough to build muscle when you were younger. Now you need closer to 30 grams to get the same effect. The practical solution is simple. Build your breakfast around protein first. If you enjoy oats, they don't have to disappear completely, but they should never stand alone as the star of the plate. Add in high leucine foods like eggs, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or even a protein shake. A bowl of oats topped with almond butter and a scoop of whey or pea protein suddenly shifts from a muscle-wasting meal to a muscle-preserving one. And here's the empowering part. Small changes make a huge difference. Over the course of a year, swapping carb-heavy breakfasts for protein-rich ones could mean the difference between maintaining lean muscle or losing several pounds of it. That's not just about vanity. That's about keeping your metabolism high, your energy steady, and your bones protected by strong supporting muscles. Here's the big picture. After 40, every meal is a message. Oatmeal alone sends a message of fuel only, but your body needs more than fuel. It needs the raw materials to stay vital. If you want to remain strong into your 50s, 60s, and beyond, the message at breakfast has to be clear: protect my muscle. Keep me strong. Think about the last time you had oatmeal for breakfast. How did you feel 2 hours later? For many people over 40, the answer is surprisingly consistent. You start off satisfied, maybe even energized, but before long there's a crash. You feel hungry again, your focus dips, and you may find yourself reaching for coffee or a quick snack. This is not a coincidence. It's the physiology of how oatmeal interacts with your blood sugar and how that changes as you age. Here's the science. Oatmeal is made primarily of carbohydrates. Yes, it has fiber, which does slow down absorption a bit, but in most adults it still causes a noticeable rise in blood glucose. For younger people with sharp insulin sensitivity, the body clears that glucose efficiently, pulling it into cells where it can be used as energy. But once you hit your 40 and beyond, your cells often become less responsive to insulin. This is called insulin resistance, and it means glucose lingers longer in the bloodstream, creating a higher spike and a sharper crash. What happens in your brain during this? Initially, that glucose surge feels good. Your neurons get a quick hit of fuel. But as insulin drives the sugar out of the bloodstream, the drop comes quickly. That's when you experience brain fog, irritability, and the classic mid-morning crash. In fact, some research shows that unstable blood sugar is directly tied to reduced cognitive performance, especially in memory and executive function. It's not that your brain is tired, it's that its fuel supply is on a roller coaster. Now add another layer, your hormones. In the morning, cortisol, your natural wake-up hormone, is already elevated. Cortisol works with blood sugar to mobilize energy for the day. When you combine a cortisol peak with a big carbohydrate load like oatmeal, the body perceives this as a stress signal. It amplifies the swings, leaving you feeling wired and then drained. Over time, this repeated pattern contributes not only to fatigue, but also to belly fat, inflammation, and weaker recovery from exercise. Here's the empowering shift. Stabilizing your blood sugar early in the day changes the entire trajectory of your energy, focus, and mood. A breakfast balanced with protein, healthy fats, and fiber creates a slow, steady release of glucose, avoiding the spike crash cycle. For example, eggs with avocado and spinach, or Greek yogurt with chia seeds and nuts provide the same satisfaction of a warm breakfast, but keep you steady for hours. Have you noticed how much harder it is to resist cravings after a carb-heavy breakfast? That's biology, not willpower. When your blood sugar drops, your brain activates a reward-seeking pathway, pushing you toward quick fixes, pastries, extra coffee, sugary snacks. It's not that you're lacking discipline, it's that your body is compensating for unstable fuel. If you love oatmeal, you can still make it work, but you have to change the recipe. Think of oatmeal as a canvas, not the main event. Instead of a sugary bowl with bananas and honey, try half a serving of steel-cut oats, add a scoop of protein powder, stir in almond butter, and top with berries and flax seeds. Now you've transformed it from a glucose spike into a nutrient-dense, muscle-supporting meal. And here's a practical tool you can test after breakfast. Take a 10-15-minute walk. Movement helps shuttle glucose into your muscles, smoothing out the blood sugar curve. You'll not only feel more energized, but also protect your metabolism. If this kind of science-backed insight is helpful, consider subscribing to the channel. This community is all about giving you tools that actually work with your biology, not against it. There's something fascinating about the way your body wakes up each morning. Even before you open your eyes, your system is already in motion. Cortisol, often called the stress hormone, but better understood as your body's natural energizer, rises sharply in the early hours. This is your built-in alarm clock, designed to mobilize energy, sharpen your alertness, and prepare you for the demands of the day. Now imagine what happens when, during this peak, you load your system with a carbohydrate-dense meal like oatmeal. Cortisol is already pushing glucose into the bloodstream, and now you add another wave of carbs on top of it. The result? Your stress system and your fuel system collide. The takeaway is clear. Oatmeal on its own is like throwing kindling on a fire. It burns fast, flares up, and then dies out. But after 40, What you need is steady, lasting fuel. By rethinking your first meal of the day, you're not just avoiding a crash, you're building a foundation of focus, energy, and strength that carries you through the entire day. Think of cortisol as the conductor of your morning orchestra. When balanced, it brings harmony. You wake up clear-headed, motivated, and ready to perform. But when you drown it with a carb-heavy breakfast, it's like blasting static through the speakers. The signal becomes chaotic, and instead of energy, you feel drained, irritable, or tense within hours. This is why so many people report feeling on edge after a carb-only breakfast. The body interprets that spike as stress, and the nervous system responds accordingly. Heart rate variability drops, mood regulation becomes harder, and you're more likely to experience anxiety or agitation mid-morning. It's not that oatmeal itself is toxic, it's the mismatch between your body's stress rhythm and the fuel you're giving it. For someone younger and highly insulin sensitive, this isn't such a big deal, but once you're in your 40 and beyond, your physiology becomes less forgiving. The combination of high cortisol and high glucose amplifies insulin fluctuations, increasing the risk of energy crashes, inflammation, and over time fat storage, especially around the midsection. Here's where neuroscience adds another layer. Cortisol interacts directly with your brain's hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the regions responsible for memory and decision making. When cortisol is dysregulated by unstable blood sugar, these brain regions function less efficiently. Have you ever found it harder to focus on complex tasks after a carb-heavy breakfast? That's not coincidence. That's cortisol and glucose battling for control over your mental clarity. So what's the alternative? Instead of giving cortisol more sugar to juggle, you pair it with stabilizing nutrients. Protein in the morning not only helps with muscle preservation, but also tempers the cortisol response. Healthy fats like avocado, nuts, or olive oil give your brain longer-lasting fuel. Even something as simple as adding eggs, salmon, or chia seeds alongside your carbs balances the stress response and smooths out the energy curve. A useful tool here is timing. If you truly enjoy oatmeal, try shifting it later in the day when cortisol has naturally dropped and your body is better equipped to handle carbohydrates. Many people find that a protein-rich breakfast and a small serving of oats in the afternoon creates far fewer crashes. Here's another practice to test pair mindful breathing with your breakfast. Taking 2 minutes to slow your breath before eating can reduce sympathetic nervous system activity, lowering cortisol's baseline and preparing your digestion to absorb nutrients more effectively. Science consistently shows that your nervous system state influences how your body metabolizes food. So let's bring this back to the bigger picture. After 40, the way you manage cortisol has ripple effects far beyond breakfast. It impacts your body composition, your resilience to stress, your cognitive performance, and even your sleep. Oatmeal by itself doesn't respect that rhythm. But when you align your food with your body's stress biology, you create stability instead of chaos. Remember, the goal is not to fear carbs. It's to match your fuel with your biology. When you respect the role cortisol plays in your morning routine, you stop fighting against your body and start working with it. That's how you build strength, calm, and resilience in midlife and beyond. When most people think of oatmeal, they think of it as nutrient-rich. To be fair, oatmeal does provide some vitamins, minerals, and fiber. But here's the key question: is it giving you the nutrients that matter most after 40? The answer is often no. After midlife, your nutritional priorities shift. Your body demands higher quality protein, more anti-inflammatory compounds, and specific vitamins and minerals that protect bones, muscles, and brain health. The unfortunate truth is that oatmeal, while filling, leaves major gaps in these areas. Let's break it down. Oatmeal gives you a modest amount of B vitamins, iron, and magnesium. But compared to what you actually need to slow aging and preserve strength, it falls short. For example, it provides almost no vitamin D, essential for bone density and immune regulation. It offers no meaningful omega-3 fatty acids, critical for reducing inflammation and preserving brain health. And its protein quality is poor, lacking the essential amino acids needed for repair and growth. Think of your body like a construction site. After 40, the workers, your cells, are trying to repair and reinforce the structure daily. But if you only deliver bricks carbs from oats without enough steel beams, insulation, or tools, the missing proteins, healthy fats, and micronutrients. The building weakens over time. That's the nutrient gap at work. Here's where the science gets empowering. Studies on aging consistently highlight the role of nutrient density, the amount of critical vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients per calorie in extending both lifespan and health span. Foods like fatty fish, eggs, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and fermented dairy score far higher on this scale than oats. These are the foods that support mitochondrial health, regulate inflammation, and protect against muscle and bone decline. What makes this worse is that many people treat oatmeal as a standalone breakfast. A plain bowl of oats with some sugar or fruit might taste satisfying, but nutritionally it's like filling your gas tank halfway before a long road trip. You're going to run out of fuel where it matters most, not in calories, but in key nutrients. And don't underestimate the compounding effect. The nutrients you don't get at breakfast add up over years. Missing out on vitamin D, omega-3 ces, or adequate protein in your 40 and 50 can mean weaker bones, lower resilience, and slower brain processing in your 60 and beyond. On the other hand, consistently filling those gaps builds reserves of strength, vitality, and cognitive protection. Here's another strategy. Swap oatmeal for alternatives a few times a week. A vegetable omelet with avocado delivers protein, fiber, and healthy fats all in one plate. A salmon and greens breakfast gives you omega-3 ces, vitamin D, and high-quality protein in one sitting. Even a smoothie with protein powder, spinach, flax seeds, and berries outperforms oatmeal in terms of nutrient density. So what can you do if oatmeal has been your morning ritual for years? The solution isn't necessarily to abandon it, but to upgrade it. Instead of oats with brown sugar and milk, imagine oats topped with Greek yogurt, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, and blueberries. Suddenly, you've filled many of those nutrient gaps, adding protein, omega-3 precursors, antioxidants, and minerals your body craves. You've taken a nutrient-light food and transformed it into a nutrient-dense meal. So here's the takeaway. Oatmeal is not the enemy, but it is incomplete. After 40, you can't afford incomplete nutrition. Every meal needs to pull its weight. By focusing on nutrient density, you ensure that every bite sends the message, repair, protect, and strengthen. That's how you stay strong and vibrant for decades to come. If this resonates with you and you're finding value in these insights, take a moment to subscribe. This channel is all about giving you practical, science-backed strategies to fuel not just a longer life, but a better one. One of the biggest reasons people hold on to oatmeal is the belief that it's the best food for digestion. It's true that oats contain soluble fiber, particularly beta-glucan, which can help lower cholesterol and support bowel movements. But here's the catch. After 40, your gut health depends on diversity, a wide range of fibers and plant compounds that feed your microbiome. And this is where oatmeal on its own falls short. Over time, this lack of diversity can lead to an imbalance called dysbiosis, where certain bacteria dominate while others weaken. Dysbiosis has been linked to inflammation, poor nutrient absorption, and even mood disorders. That's why scientists emphasize that the healthiest guts belong to people who eat a wide variety of fibers, vegetables, legumes, fruits, seeds, nuts, and resistant starches. Your gut microbiome is like a rainforest. Thousands of different species of bacteria working together to regulate digestion, immune function, and even mood. The more diverse the plants you eat, the richer and more resilient this ecosystem becomes. But if you eat the same source of fiber every morning, oats, and more oats, you're essentially planting just one kind of tree in the forest. It may grow, but the ecosystem becomes fragile. Now here's another piece most people miss. Not all fiber works the same way. Some fibers ferment quickly in the gut, producing short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. These compounds are fuel for the cells lining your colon and play a key role in reducing inflammation and protecting against colon cancer. Oats do contribute to this process, but not nearly as effectively as foods like flax seeds, chia seeds, onions, garlic, beans, or green bananas. If oatmeal is your main source of fiber, you're missing out on some of the most protective compounds for long-term gut health. Here's a practical tool you can use: aim for the 30 plants per week rule. Research shows that people who consume at least 30 different plant foods weekly have a far more diverse and resilient microbiome. That might sound like a lot, but it's simpler than you think. A handful of walnuts, a sprinkle of chia, a serving of broccoli, some garlic in your cooking. By the end of the week, those small additions add up. Compare that to eating oatmeal 5 or 6 mornings in a row, and you can see how variety wins every time. And let's talk about blood sugar again. While fiber does slow digestion, oatmeal-soluble fiber isn't always enough to blunt the glucose spike in older adults. For some, oats can actually worsen gut symptoms, bloating, discomfort, or irregularity, especially if eaten without protein or fat to balance the meal. This is why so many people over 40 report feeling better when they diversify their fiber sources instead of relying heavily on oats. So what does a gut-friendly breakfast look like? Think variety. Chia pudding with flax seeds and berries feeds multiple strains of bacteria, providing both soluble and insoluble fibers. A vegetable omelet with onions, spinach, and mushrooms delivers prebiotics, specific fibers that directly nourish beneficial bacteria. Even something as simple as adding nuts, seeds, or fermented foods like kefir to your morning meal dramatically increases the diversity of your microbiome fuel. The empowering truth is this: your gut health is not about one superfood, it's about the orchestra of nutrients you feed it. Oatmeal may play a role, but it cannot carry the entire symphony. After 40, if you want stable digestion, reduced inflammation, and even sharper mental clarity, you need to broaden your fiber sources. Your microbiome thrives on diversity. And when your gut thrives, every part of you, from your energy to your immunity to your mood, becomes stronger. Up to this point, we've explored why oatmeal may not be the best choice after 40, from its weak protein profile to its effects on blood sugar, cortisol, nutrient density, and gut health. But knowledge alone isn't enough. The real transformation comes when you know what to do instead. So let's shift gears and talk about powerful science-backed breakfast alternatives that truly support strength, energy, and longevity. Here's the first principle: build your breakfast around protein first. Protein is the master signal that tells your body to maintain muscle, regulate appetite, and keep blood sugar stable. After 40, this becomes non-negotiable. The target is about 25-35 grams of protein at breakfast, enough to trigger muscle protein synthesis and give your body the raw materials it needs for repair. Eggs are one of the simplest and most effective options. They provide high-quality protein, healthy fats, and important nutrients like choline, which supports brain function. Add in vegetables like spinach, mushrooms, or peppers, and suddenly you've got fiber, antioxidants, and micronutrients layered into one meal. For extra staying power, pair it with avocado or a small handful of nuts to balance energy release. For those who enjoy a more savory approach, smoked salmon or sardines with leafy greens provides not just protein, but also omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D, two nutrients that oatmeal completely lacks. This type of breakfast doesn't just fuel you for the morning, it actively reduces inflammation and supports cognitive function. Another excellent option is Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Both are rich in protein and calcium, and when you top them with flax seeds, chia seeds, or berries, you get fiber and omega-3 precursors that protect your heart and brain. Compared to a bowl of oatmeal, a yogurt bowl with seeds and berries delivers far more of the nutrients your body actually craves after 40. If you're someone who likes the convenience of a quick meal, smoothies can be a game changer. The key is balance. Use a high-quality protein powder, add greens like spinach or kale, toss in flax seeds or walnuts, and finish with berries for antioxidants. This combination gives you a nutrient-dense, muscle-preserving, brain-boosting breakfast in minutes, and it can be varied daily so you're not stuck in the monotony of oats every morning. For those who truly love the ritual of oatmeal, remember, it doesn't have to be eliminated, but it must be redesigned. Use a smaller base of steel-cut oats, mix in protein powder or Greek yogurt, add nut butter for healthy fats, and top with seeds and berries. Now your oatmeal isn't a blood sugar roller coaster, it's a balanced, longevity-focused meal. Here's another principle. Think about breakfast as setting the tone for your metabolism. A protein and nutrient-rich first meal reduces cravings, steadies your energy, and improves decision-making all day long. When you win breakfast, you often win the rest of the day. And here's the empowering truth. Once you make the shift, you'll feel the difference almost immediately. Steadier energy, sharper focus, fewer cravings, better workouts, and over time, stronger muscles and healthier aging. That's the compound effect of choosing foods aligned with your biology. The bigger picture here is this breakfast is not just about calories, it's about communication. Each morning, you're sending your body a signal. Am I preparing for strength, focus, and resilience, or am I setting myself up for crashes and decline? The alternatives we've just discussed, eggs with vegetables, yogurt with seeds, salmon with greens, balanced smoothies, all send the right message. They tell your muscles to grow, your brain to focus, and your hormones to stabilize. So when you think about breakfast after 40, don't just think about tradition or convenience. Think about longevity. Think about strength. Think about giving your body the exact tools it needs to thrive for decades to come. Think about the 6 insights we explored today. First, oatmeal doesn't provide enough of the key amino acids. Your muscles need to resist age-related muscle loss. Without that constant signal, the silent process of sarcopenia accelerates. Second, oatmeal can trigger blood sugar spikes and crashes, a cycle that steals your focus, energy, and mood stability. Third, when combined with your natural morning cortisol peak, a carb-heavy breakfast disrupts your stress rhythms, leaving you drained instead of empowered. Fourth, oatmeal leaves major nutrient gaps. No meaningful vitamin D, no omega-3 say, poor protein quality. After 40, you can't afford nutrient-light meals. Every bite matters. Fifth, relying on oats as your main source of fiber changes your microbiome. Your gut thrives on diversity, and the more varied your plant intake, the more resilient your digestion, immunity, and even your mood become. And finally, sixth, the most empowering point of all, there are better alternatives. Protein-rich, nutrient-dense, and gut-friendly breakfasts that not only satisfy but actually strengthen your body for decades to come. We've covered a lot of ground, and if there's one takeaway, it's this: the foods that served you in your 20th or the 30th of May not serve you the same way after 40. Your physiology changes, your nutrient needs rise, and the signals your body listens to become more specific. Oatmeal, once celebrated as a health food, may no longer deliver what your body truly needs to stay strong, sharp, and resilient. Now let's zoom out. Why does all this matter? Because strength after 40 is about more than lifting weights. It's about the signals you give your body every single day. Each meal is like a message. Preserve me, protect me, help me thrive, or the opposite. The beauty of food is that it's not just fuel, it's information, and your body listens carefully. So here's my challenge to you tomorrow morning. Choose a breakfast that sends the right message. Maybe it's eggs with spinach and avocado. Maybe it's Greek yogurt with chia seeds and walnuts. Maybe it's a balanced smoothie that you can grab on the go. Whatever it is, let it be protein first, nutrient dense, and microbiome friendly. Try this shift for just 1 week and pay attention. Notice how your energy feels steadier. Notice how your cravings diminish. Notice how your focus sharpens. That's your biology rewarding you. And remember, this isn't about eliminating oatmeal forever. It's about understanding context and upgrading your choices. If you enjoy oats, reframe them as a side note, not the headline. Add protein, healthy fats, and nutrient-dense toppings so that your breakfast truly works for you. The real goal is longevity with vitality. You want to move into your 50, 60, and beyond, not just living, but thriving. Strong muscles, sharp brain, steady energy, resilient mood. That doesn't happen by chance. It happens by aligning your daily habits with the science of how your body changes over time. If today's insights helped you, I'd love for you to join this community, subscribe, share your experience in the comments, and let's grow stronger together. Because when we share knowledge, we don't just add years to life, we add life to years. So as we close, I invite you to take ownership of your mornings, reclaim breakfast as a tool for strength, not weakness. See each choice as an investment in the future version of yourself, the one who can climb stairs with ease, carry groceries without strain, think clearly, and live independently with confidence.